Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Heavy shot. I've been hearing a lot about that in the last 10 years. What exactly does that mean, a heavy forehand? You hear the announcers like, wow, that was a heavy shot. Well, that was a lot of heavy shots coming. Like, what exactly is heavy? You dropping a weight on that racket or what? Stay tuned. So, I derived this question from a man, Richard Ting here, okay? He said, video idea, heavy balls. I know about heavy balls, but we're going to talk about this right now. We're going to talk about this video right now, though, okay?
No. Oh, my God.
What makes your shot feel heavy? Is it the spin? The weight of the racket? Just power off a flat shot? Are spinning Nadal balls heavier or a flat Del Potro forehand heavier? Thinner strings or thicker strings will make a ball heavier. So these are all questions that he's answering. I'll do the strings, but I got these two here to talk about the balls. Okay, so got my man Coach Goo, man Coach Chris. What is a heavy ball? Coach Goo, I'm going to let you take a swipe at this first. Right. What is a heavy ball?
What I indicate as a heavy ball is a blend of heavy spin, means top spin, and momentum / weight on the ball. So when you notice a lot of players, especially on the pro level, the announcers or the commentator will be like, oh, that's a heavy forehand that they're hitting. What I believe how I identify a heavy forehand is, first, their momentum speed forward. You'll see that their racket is always plowing through the ball, and then also catching it in front. So when they're swinging, you have all this built momentum from their take back through their contact, a minute of contact. So when they're hitting through that ball, the spin that comes off plus the weight of their whole racket / body will come through and plow all the way through, creating that what we call a heavy ball. So what I identify that is, one, having the weight of the ball, the weight of your momentum on the ball, and two, just plowing that in front and making sure that it's coming with more spin.
So, but how is that different than a regular shot of yours? Like, how is it different? Because your shots are usually pretty heavy as it is, but how do you make it heavier? So
how I make it heavier is usually when you see a lot of defense, when a lot of the players are on the defensive end, right? We actually stand a little further back behind the baseline, right? Like especially Nadal, right? He actually plays, or a team, for example, plays a little further behind, but when they rip, they actually go faster. So when you notice is they're loading with their legs more, they're more engaged with their legs, and also they're relaxed and actually whipping their racket a lot faster, is because they're creating that extra heavy spin, right? The more legs we generate and the more momentum of our swing, we actually get around that ball and create more spin, making that ball jump off heavier. So that's what I think. They use more legs, they stand a little further back, they use more of their legs, and there's definitely speeding up their racket a lot more.
So, Coach Goo, now from Richard's question, would you say that Rafael Nadal would be exactly what he's asking about? That shot, the way he plays, that crazy forehand?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that question. And yes, it is a bit heavier in my opinion because, like, for example, when he played Federer, right, that's why Federer was always having a tough time with his backhand because Nadal's lefty forehand was always using his legs. He was using or having a super fast racket head speed when he hits that ball. So basically it creates this extra power from his body and his momentum going to the ball with his racket to create that extra spin and pace. So when it does bounce, it does kick up even harder, right? So Nadal's playing style is definitely a huge advantage, and a lot of players, or a lot of the Spaniards you'll see are trying to imitate that. So I believe it is a heavier ball.
All right, perfect. So I know a Spaniard that just got back from Spain. Coach Chris, would you agree with what Coach Gu just said? And please elaborate.
Yeah, I think the question, right? What is a heavy ball? What is something that's hit with a lot of heaviness to it? I think the biggest thing is taking a look at the flight path of the ball. I think a lot of the time when you're hitting a ball that's really flat, right, the tendency for it to go over the net is really low. But if you have something with a little bit more shape, a bit more heaviness to it, the trajectory goes up and then down. But I think not just stopping there by saying heaviness is the flight of the path of the ball going up and then down, but it's also there's a little bit more bite to it. So not just the trajectory isn't just going up, but it is also revolving really fast to then kick up, kind of like a kick serve too as well. I think that's really important to say. And I think if you watch a lot of the pros from court level, you'll kind of get a feeling of that, a tendency of that ball really kicking up and really biting off the ground. And really, I think clay is a good surface to see that a lot because, right, the ball bounces a lot more on clay than any other surface. So.
So would you guys bring it in, Coach Gu. Would you guys say that heaviness equals to more RPMs, like more rotation?
Yeah, I would agree so.
Yeah. So when it basically does this faster, it hits and then it comes heavier at you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right? Would that be a good simple explanation?
Yep.
Okay. So let's demonstrate this a little bit. I'm going to have Gu on one side and Chris on the other, obviously. And Gu's going to demonstrate as he hits a little harder with a little more heaviness, and then, like the progressions of it.
I'm using my leg, and I'm trying to get a lot of racket speed on my ball. So basically, as you can tell, I'm using my legs a lot, and I'm staying relaxed. So when I make impact, I'm speeding up my racket and brushing a little more up, but I'm still finishing through my ball to get more spin. So the blend between using my legs and getting that momentum and using my body weight and accelerating my racket a little more up and through my shot.
Coach Gu, when would you use this shot?
Neutral to defensive balls. So basically, for me, I like if I'm defending and I have a chance to go from defensive to neutral. There's 3 stages, what I call it. There's defense, neutral, and defensive. Right? If you're on the defensive end, we really want to focus on getting really high depth. So we're really using our legs and floating through to get that high and heavy ball. So we do get that chance. Now that ball we're predicting now is getting that another zone called neutral. When we go back to neutral, then I can try to do another high and heavy ball again, and I get a short ball. I'll be on the offensive side.
So this is a neutral shot.
A neutral / defensive shot, correct.
So Coach Gu is actually not altering his shot. Coach Gu is actually not altering his shot at all. All he's doing is adding more legs and a little more brush. So wrist and loose grip going north. So that's all he's doing. He's not trying to do crazy whatever, big wind up, all this stuff. It's the same normal shot as you guys do all the time. It's just he's incorporating more leg and brush. Okay? So, Coach Gu, any other words for people?
I would say it's really good to practice this shot. It's in general, everyone wants to learn how to hit a heavy ball. You'll never know, especially on the defensive end, when you hit a heavy ball, it helps you reset and gain back a stage from defensive to neutral, right? Like I said, there's 3 levels. There's defensive, neutral, and offensive, right? Because when you play on these 3 levels, right, we're trying to kind of range where we are. So as I classified that those heavy, deep balls, they always are beneficial definitely on the defensive end and neutral end because it helps you gain back those. It helps you gain up to those levels of being offensive.
Okay, so the one thing that I noticed in this shot is that Coach Gu, when done correctly, it's one bounce on the other side and fence. One bounce in and then fence. I mean, that's a pretty long distance that the ball has to travel with one bounce. So that tells me that there's a lot of spin coming from that ball.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I agree so because as you can tell, I was using my legs a lot and just staying relaxed and trying to accelerate and brush at the same time. So with those combinations of the two, it definitely helped out with that.
Obviously, stay loose too. Yeah. Like everybody tightens up with that shot, but the looser you are,
the easier to get the RPMs on it.
Exactly. So don't over grip the bracket. Okay?
The bracket?
The bracket?
The bracket?
Oh,
you said the bracket?
So don't over grip the racket.
Oh,
don't over grip the racket. Okay? Anyways.
March Madness bracket.
Exactly.
It's too early for that, man.
Okay. So, Coach Chris, anything to add?
I think one of the most important things too is making sure you keep the acceleration going through. So when you're hitting your shot, that part is really important. If you don't accelerate, you just kind of push it, the ball's going to sail along. So that's really important to make sure that you understand for a heavy ball, you need to keep the acceleration going.
Yep, it's going to keep going if you slow down.
You go to the moon. This guy.
To the moon and back.
That's how he hits the ball.
I know.
Unfortunately.
I know you guys like it. Okay, guys, so to finish answering this question, the strings actually will do part of what you're wanting or needing, but I feel that you can do it with whatever string you currently use. But if you want to enhance heaviness in your ball, I feel that Roger Federer has probably one of the best combinations in pro tennis to enhance or make better the heavy ball, heavier spin. Because gut actually absorbs the ball the most and then slings it out of there. So if you're swinging like Coach Gu was, basically coming from low to high, going really, really hard over the ball, but yet through the ball, the gut will absorb, snap on the ALU rough, and then make it spin more. So the same thing can happen with a full bed of poly. Like a Solinco Confidential that I use. Hyper G would be a great one. Torbite would also be fine as long as you don't string it too tight, like 65 pounds. So strings like gut. I think on the main will be way better though. Way better if you want a heavy shot. Full bed of this. Sorry, moving the racket. Maybe a combination of both of these would be good. With this being on the main, will enhance what you're wanting in terms of imparting a heavy ball on your shot. All right, so try all those things. If you want to make it more spinny like Rafa Nadal, right? We got to go over that ball and through the ball at the same time to cause that rotation. Remember, RPM, rotations per minute. We want to impart more RPM on the ball so that it kind of goes up, comes down, and jumps. So that's the heavy ball part. Heavy spin, bounce, jumps. So that's the heaviness of the ball. Okay? So we talked about heavy balls today. I think we showed them some heavy balls today. So I think we're good. Coach Gu, where can we find you?
Find me at agu.tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
All right. Coach Chris, where can we find your heavy balls?
Oh, God. You can find me at CB Chen Tennis.
Thank you for watching To The Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. What is a heavy ball, guys? What is a heavy ball? Coach Goo, maybe I'll let you take a swipe
What?
at that first.
What?
Take a tack.
What?
Take a swipe.
Take a swipe at that first.
What?
A
stroke for 10 seconds.
Heavy.
Oh my god.
Okay. Let's
Hey,
go.
bro.